Hangover. That's right. Welcome to the After Party Hangover. I'm your host, Mangria Fueled, and this is the show that talks about a show that talks about a show. Today on The Hangover, I have a woman who puts up with my shit. She is my wife. She's a casual wrestling fan, so I'm going to get her opinion on most of the questions I ask. Hello, Jmaddr. What's going on?
Why, hello there. How you doing?
Okay, well, I start off every episode by asking, how did you come up with your Instagram tag name at Jmaddr?
Okay, so my Instagram name, it's dorky as heck. Been using this name for a long time besides Instagram. Originally started in high school because I wanted to be a DJ. And how you combine your name, you put the first letter of your first name, and then you combine the next three or whatever letters for your last name. Therefore, Jmaddr.
Great story.
Hey.
No, okay. Well, let me start off by asking, how did you first start watching wrestling? Who introduced you to it? Did you casually run into it? Or what's the story of you and wrestling introduction?
You know what? I thought it was you who introduced me to wrestling, but now that I think about it, I had a friend named Kirk in high school who was a massive wrestling fan at the time, and he kind of introduced me to it, but at the time I found it not interesting.
Okay, and did you check in and out over the years, or did you just give up after a certain amount of time and then I got you into it, or how does it go without Kirk? Did you do it on your own, in other words?
I didn't. Just completely phased out of it, and then got back into it once we started dating.
Was it during the Attitude Era when you first started watching it, or was it when like John Cena was up, coming up and becoming popular? Ruthless Aggression or Attitude Era?
I would say Attitude Era, because I remember some of Triple H and Shawn Michaels, but not a lot.
Well, you like The Undertaker too, right?
Yeah, I like Undertaker.
I think everyone likes him.
Yeah.
We've been to many live events in the past, many SmackDowns, many Raws, house shows, even a WrestleMania. Do you have a favorite event from those, or a favorite memory from one of those specifically?
WrestleMania, hands down. Wow.
How did you feel being a casual fan surrounded by all the hardcore fans?
It was very interesting. Okay, so even before we got to WrestleMania, some of the memories that are coming up to me right now, even us just leaving town and we headed to the nearest gas station, we ran into people who are going to WrestleMania, like a little group of fans, and that was interesting. And then actually going to the event, that was even more fun. You just start bonding with random people, and then the energy that fills the stadium, it's an amazing feeling.
Going to a Raw or a SmackDown or a house show, it's maybe I'd say 50% hardcore fans, 50% casual fans, like parents bringing their kids, and it's a fun little experience for them, but for the hardcore fans such as myself, it's something special. But when we were at WrestleMania 31, I would say it was more 80 hardcore fans, 20 casual. And the atmosphere at the Levi Stadium was so, I guess I could say, magical, even though that sounds bouncy. It was magical because nobody was judging anybody for wearing wrestling shirts or having goofy signs or me carrying my big bulky title. So it was a special experience. And plus, Levi Stadium was new back then, so everything was not tagged or scratched or burned.
Yeah, and everybody was just having fun. It was a really strong energy. You could feel everybody's excitement. Everybody was really into it. The stadium was super loud. And
so just to be clear, you liked WrestleMania 31 over the Survivor Series.
I loved it.
Over Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Do you remember a favorite match? What was your favorite moment from that WrestleMania, if you can recall?
Okay, if I can recall, that was when. Okay, this I liked it all, but I guess a couple I could remember right now I really liked were like when Ronda Rousey got pulled from the audience
Yep.
into the stage, and
I remember when Rock came out, the stadium was deafening.
oh wow,
Like it was like when I was there with you and he came out, it was like Jesus coming out.
it was.
It was such an electric energy in that audience. Nobody was sitting down. Everybody was chanting Rocky for like 6 minutes straight. And then the events that followed that with Rock and Triple H smack talking and Stephanie. And then Ronda Rousey just was the cherry on top of that whole experience.
It was, and then one other segment I remember. Oh, okay. So it was Daniel Bryan and I think it was Dolph Ziggler, right? They were like on the ladder.
Yeah.
And they were just started headbutting each other.
They were. It looked like that's how Daniel Bryan almost ended his career, by headbutting Ziggler over and over and over and over, and it was intense and brutal, and the payoff with Daniel Bryan holding the championship and the entire stadium chanting yes. That was another magical moment at that WrestleMania event. Well, I know you're a casual fan, but you have been listening and watching over the years, especially being with me. Do you have a favorite theme song of all time, and that spans the entire time you've been watching wrestling? The one that comes to your mind that you love.
The one I originally loved was AJ Lee's theme song.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It
was
just
like
had a little nice pop.
It was like a bubbly, poppy, like, turn it up,
Yeah.
ba-da, turn it up. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
I don't know. I just really love AJ Lee, but I liked her song. I'm not sure why, but
if AJ
really
Lee came back, would you start watching it more often?
I
What was it
her.
about? What was it about her that you liked?
Not just her wrestling skills, but I guess like her acting too. Like she was very persuasive when it came to her storylines, and then I would keep track of like Instagram or social media, and she seemed like a really cool person.
And plus, she was involved in a angle where she was crazy, and then they made her GM of Raw, and she was dating Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, and then she made out with Kane for some reason.
And then Cena too, and then...
Yeah, that was she was a good wrestler. I hope she does return eventually, because the women's division needs some kind of star power, and Ronda Rousey can't be the only draw that they get. So would that be your favorite superstar as well, or do you have a favorite overall superstar of all time?
The favorite superstar of all time?
Yeah.
I think right now would be Shinsuke.
Wow, I thought you were going to bust out with your Orton story that you met him at the news station, but okay. Why Shinsuke?
Okay, Shinsuke changed my mind from Orton. It's kind of like AJ Lee also. You got me watching him through NXT. Him and his match with Sami Zayn was pretty crazy. And social media too. Just he seems like a really down to earth, fun guy to hang around.
He is so original, and WWE has never seen anything like this guy. And in NXT, he thrived, and we saw what he could do. And his music, his moves, his moveset, his look, like everything about him screams megastar. And then he gets to the main roster, and it's like, we'll have him win the Royal Rumble and then lose all his momentum at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He'll be a bad guy, but anyway, what's Roman up to?
Yeah, they built him up pretty high in NXT. But...
Well, since we're on the subject of favorite superstar, go ahead and tell the story of the Orton, how you met him, and how you're actually on his DVD.
Okay, so I believe you had let me know that he was going to be on the KPH Fox 26 news station, our local news station. and I didn't want to wake up that early. It never dawned on me to go wait outside the news station to see if they would come out. That was a We did decide to go. We went very early in the morning. And when we got there was like a little mini crowd. They had their signs and everything and action figures, and we see Orton's car drive up and he waves hi.
Speak up a little bit.
And then when we after I guess he records his segment on the news, his car came out, and he actually parked, and we're like, what? What's going on? And us, a little group of people, were like, what? Are you kidding me? He's actually coming out. And then he gets out of the car, there's a camera rolling, following him, and then he starts walking towards the little crowd that was out there. And then everybody gets excited, I lose my shit. I get into instant star mode where I'm just really excited and I can't think straight. I'm just full of joy. I run to him, and then he walks towards me, and then he ends up putting his arm around me so he could take a picture of me. And then you get my phone, and I could see you kind of like giggling at me because of how funny I looked.
Actually, he started like signing autographs and taking pictures, and then he put his arm around you, and you had your little pink digital camera that I stood there and I was taking a picture of you guys. Little did I know that the camera crew was behind me during that moment. So the actual moment where I'm taking your picture with Randy Orton ended up on his DVD, which I think was called Apex Predator or something.
It's his first one.
It came out maybe 6 years ago or something.
Of course, I'm not going to remember the autograph part. No.
But, yeah, and then I remember he said, everyone's okay with consent, right? Because you have to get everyone to sign a release to put them on a DVD or something. And since everyone gave verbal consent, the rest was history. You ended up on his DVD, and you were riding a little high on that celebrity there for a little bit. You're just acting like your shit didn't stink or anything. I was like, all right, calm down now.
Hey, I got the first picture, so.
Okay, well, I know you're a casual fan, but do you have... If someone says, hey, Jackie, what is your favorite wrestling match of all time? One that you can remember and you actually popped for it. You got a kick out of it. Made you excited. Invokes emotions out of you.
The one that actually invoked emotions out of me was Undertaker versus... Was it Roman or who ended his streak?
That was Lesnar. At WrestleMania 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forgot who ended his streak, but yeah, I'd say that's the one that invoked any emotion. And
that's your favorite match? You said Shinsuke was your favorite superstar. Is there a Shinsuke match you can recall?
The one...
Remember he took on Sami Zayn when he first debuted, and that was like a incredible debut match at a takeover?
Yeah, it was incredible. I think he had a good one with, what's his name? Sorry, I can't remember his name.
AJ?
Yeah, AJ Styles, okay. There you go. He had a really good one with him. Yeah.
It was good. The ending was weird, but what about a gimmick match? Do you have like a... You know how they have all those First Blood or Steel Cage or tables or mixed match or whatever, what have you? Do you have a favorite gimmick match that when it's on, it's like, oh, let's look at this? Like that WrestleMania or TLC or Money in the Bank or any... That's a gimmick.
Does Royal Rumble count? I think it was. I think it was that match where Kofi was a badass and he freaking flew around on the ladders and everything. I remember he just like jumped around on the ladders. It was crazy. It was a while ago though, before he was on New Day.
Yeah, he always does those sneaky tricks to get back into the ring at the Royal Rumble, and they throw him over the top rope and he'll land on the barricade or he'll land on the stairs or something to get back in. It could have been that, or He's been in a couple Money in the Bank ladder matches as well.
There was one moment though that I will never forget, and that's Santino going into the ring and he immediately gets thrown out.
Oh yeah, he held that record for a long time.
Yeah,
Kane eliminated him. He goes, "I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready."
I kind of miss him.
Okay, well, the reason why I have you on this, the Hangover, is because I respect your opinion greatly, and a certain Australian respects your opinion greatly.
Sweet, follow me.
As a matter of fact, when I did the first Hangover match with Andi with an I asked you to listen to it to see if it was good enough because I was new to this and I really wanted your opinion on if I did something wrong or anything. And I remember you said, "Yeah, you did a good job, but you keep smacking your lips." And I guess that's a fun little Easter egg. If you go back and listen to all the Hangovers, you'll hear me smack my lips for some fucking reason. I don't know why I do it. It's just some stupid shit. But yeah, that's a...
You what? I think I kind of did that with this interview.
Well, I told Zanka last week that he was the final two well, he added the final two finishing moves, but however, I was wrong. My wife added 2 to the list.
Yeah.
My wife added the RKO and the curb stomp to the finishing move crumb offs, completing the bracket. So, now to the super boring talk. For the crumb offs this time, well, the first crumb offs, all the women, it was a hot chick crumb offs, basically. So they picked 8 chicks to do crumb offs, and each week they would eliminate them until they got to the final round. And they would do it, funny and casually. They picked Liv Morgan as the hottest chick, won the first crumb offs. Then the second crumb offs was a manager. Oh, no. The second crumb offs was a hot guy crumb offs. And it was kind of a joke bracket this time. Like, they added a whole bunch of people, but eventually Fuji just won. I don't even think it was a multi-week thing. It was like a one... They did the crumb offs, like, within 20 minutes, and Zanka just declared Mr. Fuji the winner because I guess he's hot and sexy, throwing salt and having that
Oh my gosh.
crumb and rice. But this one I got super nerdy and technical with because that's what I do. I overthink everything. So this time I made a point system for the finishing move crumb offs. So let me go to the brackets, the official brackets. What we did is I had us give scores based on 3 categories. The categories being aesthetic, meaning how it looks when the move is performed, the name of the finishing move, and the realism, meaning if you hit this move like on the sidewalk to somebody, would it really hurt that bad? And so out of a possible 15 points, that's how we scored. So the aesthetic 1 to 5, name 1 to 5, realism 1 to 5. So I had my wife fill her points out at home, and I gave her I made like a highlight reel of all the finishing moves so she can get an idea what they were, and her unbiased opinion as a casual fan, I had her make the points because I trust her opinion. And so after she made her points, I didn't look at what she wrote. I took my bracket, went to work, and on my break, I went ahead and filled out my points. And then I compared the scores, and the funny part is we matched on quite a lot of them. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. We matched on 3 out of 16, which is, I mean, it's a lot because, she's a casual fan and I think too much about this shit. Anyway, so, welcome to the finishing move crumb offs. This is round 1. With the help of my wife, we have decided what moves advance and what moves go back to the locker room. Okay, so round 1 consisted First matchup was the Razor's Edge from Razor Ramon taking on Val Venus's Money Shot. And the results were... Okay. Razor's Edge got a total of 26 from me and my wife, which defeated the Money Shot, which only got 22. So in round 1 of the finishing move crumb-offs, the Razor's Edge moves on, and Money Shot is gone.
Yay.
The second matchup in the first round was Drew McIntyre's Claymore finisher versus John Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, Johnny AEW, or whatever the hell he's going to do next, Starship Pain. And the scores for that as follows. The Claymore scored a 29, defeating Starship Pain and advancing to round 2. The third match was Kurt Angle's Ankle Lock versus Seth Rollins' Curb Stomp. The score for the Ankle Lock was 26, which was not enough to take out the Curb Stomp. The Curb Stomp moves on to round 2. The fourth match was the joke match, still entertaining. The Shake, Rattle, and Roll from the Honky Tonk Man, appropriately named, versus Doink the Clown's Whoopee Cushion. The scores for this is the Shake, Rattle, and Roll ended up with a 22 versus the 18 from the Whoopee Cushion. Whoopee Cushion is gone. The Shake, Rattle, and Roll lives on. The next matchup is Zanka's personal favorite, The Salt in the Eye by Mr. Fuji, versus Goldberg's Jackhammer. Now, since Mr. Fuji won the manager crumb-offs, I was way more harsh on Mr. Fuji this time. So, unfortunately, the Jackhammer destroys the Salt in the Eye, but not by much, surprisingly. The Jackhammer scored 20. Salt in the Eye scored 19. So it only lost by 1.
Jeez.
Next match is Shinsuke Nakamura's Kinshasa versus Randy Orton's RKO. The Kinshasa, I can never say that right, I can't even spell it, got a 28, defeating the RKO in an upset out of nowhere. Next matchup, King Corbin's End of Days versus Christian's underrated Killswitch, aka the Unprettier. But thankfully, Jake said Killswitch, because if it was the Unprettier, I would have gave it a 1. The End of Days scored 24 points. However, in another major upset, Christian's Killswitch gets a 25, defeating the End of Days by 1 point. And this one, if I put this up to a poll, it'd be interesting because they're two pretty famous moves from tag teams. The tag team face-off was the Dudley Death Drop, the 3D, versus the New Day's Midnight Hour. And I would say that the 3D is one of the most, if not the most legendary tag team finisher of all time, next to the Doomsday Device, versus the Midnight Hour, which may not be as famous, but it made a lot of New Day's victories, carrying them to the title of the longest reigning WWE World Tag Team Champions of all time. And not every match ended with the Midnight Hour. However, I'd say about a good 3/4 did. So 3D, the Dudley Death Drop, scored a 24. But the Midnight Hour defeats the Dudley Death Drop by 1 point. 25-24. The Midnight Hour advances. Now, Jackie, out of all of these finishing moves that I presented to you on the iPad as well, do you have a favorite out of all of those? Because you chose the RKO and the curb stomp.
Yeah.
What was your favorite of said finishers? Let me get your scores. Is it based on your scores, or do you have one in mind? Say this, yours right here.
Not that one.
I think the one that scored highest was wasn't it the Claymore and Ankle Lock or Starship Pain? And are you going off your scores, or can you picture one of these moves in your head that you're like, oh, that was my favorite?
I really like Starship Pain just by how it looks. It looks awesome. Like, just spinning in the air. And then he had glitter abs, so.
Starship Pain is a great finisher. However, I gave the realism a low score because it seems like he would hurt himself more than he would hurt you.
Yeah,
if he actually did that.
Based on look.
Yeah, the aesthetic, the look, it looks
like,
great.
It looks great, but then his leg barely hits his opponent.
Yeah.
But it looks amazing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, tune in next week with my next guest, whoever that shall be, will help me determine who moves on from round 2 of the finishing move crumb-offs. Alright, let's move on to my bag of Instagram questions. Yes, I'm going to ask my wife one of the Instagram questions that I've asked the guys on the podcast. Okay. And give a lot of thought, because this is super important.
Okay, bring it.
The Grim Reaper has cursed your dick so that from now on, whoever you fuck dies afterward.
Oh, no.
Which WWE superstar and which celebrity would you plow first, knowing that they're going to die right after?
WWE celebrity and...
Just a WWE superstar, male or female, and a celebrity. Who would you want to fuck, but they're going to die right after?
6 could just be like people I want to die, right?
I get you can hate fuck, I guess, or revenge fuck, or whatever you want.
Let's see. WWE superstar. You know what? I'm gonna go with celebrity first.
Okay.
Just because of the recent Comedy Central roast, yeah. To get rid of what's his name? The one who had the sex change.
You want to hate, fuck, and kill Caitlyn Jenner?
Yes, because
Oh
the
God.
roast, it was so annoying, and he made everything about himself, so I'm like, yes, okay, bye. For a wrestler, oh, I would feel bad. They're too pretty. Okay.
Well, like you said, you could hate fuck somebody.
Hate fuck, okay. I'm trying to see if a woman gets on my nerves.
What about Dana Brooke? Opportunity!
She tries so hard though, it's funny. Okay, Randy, screw it.
Well, actually, screw him.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna die.
Yeah, he lives a good life.
Jeez.
There, I can say I've been on his DVD and I fucked him. Hey, there you go.
Well, alrighty. Thank you very much for your time. You were an excellent guest. I'm never having you back on. But thank you for the help. Thank you for your opinion. Say bye to the audience.
Goodbye.
Please, just talk. Do something. Make a contribution. Do something, god damn it. Fucking speak!
Hi, I'm Vic Joseph. Do you have trouble getting hard? No, I'm just kidding. This will be the segment I do the plugs. On Instagram, to follow the Steel Rail After Party, you search at Steel Rail to Us. You want to follow the hosts of the Steel Rail After Party. It's at After Party Jake and at After Party Zenka. Go over to Facebook, search Steel Rail After Party, hit that like button. And if you want to cover up your nips with some great Steel Rail After Party merchandise, you go to shop.spreadshirt.com/Steel Rail After Party. And since you're on YouTube already, why don't you go ahead and head over to the After Party Pro Wrestling matches. There's 3 so far. Check them out. They're funny. All the characters from the Steel Real After Party podcast come to life and fight it out in some great comedy wrestling. And now on to the newest segment. Hello and welcome to my brand new segment for the After Party Hangover. I'll be reviewing the first NXT live show now on Wednesdays. And with me is the very first guest of the After Party Hangover. He helped me start this. He is the man with the spoonful of truth. He is the main event. Andy with an I. How's it going, my man?
Oh, it's going great. I served up a couple spoons full of truth this afternoon, so
Oh, shit.
business is booming.
Well, okay, let's start from the top. So we go in with Triple H's big bald head, black background, dramatic intro to what NXT is, and then he reveals the audience at Full Sail, and Mauro Ranallo introduces the first ever NXT USA show. How do you think they did there?
I thought it was pretty good. The package was good. There's a couple flubs with like Triple H's mic, but I mean,
Yeah, I noticed that too.
of all times for that to happen, it happened on that
He-
specific time. That sucks.
He was saying we are NXT, but it went R NXT.
Yeah, because I was watching it on my phone, and then on my DirecTV app, and then when I got home, I rewatched it to make sure it wasn't just like my phone cutting out. But no, that really happened.
Yeah, that is the worst timing ever for that. But I mean, it still was fine. They kicked off the show with a fatal 4-way for the number one contendership of the NXT Women's Championship. We had Evil Io Shirai, Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, and Candice LeRae in a 4-way. And I'm not really familiar with Mia Yim or Candice LeRae's work. I've seen Bianca and Io, but man, this was a hell of a match. Actually, they kicked it off with fire.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was hoping they would start with like an Adam Cole like Undisputed Era like intro, but like getting into the match was kind of a nice like break of the formula that Raw and SmackDown do.
Kicking it off with action is always a good way to start.
And yeah, Mia Yim, I've been watching her since like she was Jade in TNA, but like she disappeared for a minute, and then now she's on NXT. She's pretty good. She's got some good moves. I think she was trained by like Shelton Benjamin.
Oh wow, I wasn't aware she was in TNA. Was she really good?
She was kind of a contender. She was like a little bit in the main event scene, but with Gail Kim and stuff. And she had really short hair. Totally looks different than what she looks like now.
Yeah,
she didn't have that gangster hip hop look that she has now.
Yeah, she kind of seems like that random background dancer in a TLC music video in the 1990s. I don't really know much about her, but on commentary, the commentary team was Mauro Ranallo, Beth Phoenix, and Nigel. How do you think they did kicking off the show?
They killed it. Nigel McGuinness is like a really good commentator. I gotta
say, Beth, she was god awful a year ago, but she's kind of getting into it now. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give her a 3.
I give her a little bit closer to a 5.5 because it's so easy. Well, maybe the 3 is accurate because being around Mauro Ranallo is just it makes everything. Like it gets you hype. When you're around someone who's hype, it gets you hype. So I guess he elevates everyone else. So
when he shouts in his commentary and you can see him stand up and get all into it, it fires your ass up like JR kind of used to back in the day in the Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm.
The best spot of the match, I believe, was it was that superplex, German suplex, powerbomb, Tower of Doom in the corner. I thought that was pretty fucking badass for these chicks to pull that off.
Oh yeah, they're all pretty good. Like with their craft too. Like Candice LeRae is like she's rarely been on NXT as much as the other three.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she really had a breakout match too.
She has a similar style to Johnny Gargano. I'm guessing he's along with them shacking up, he's probably giving her tips.
Yeah, and pretty much. And she had some time in the Indies with Joey Ryan, so she's got some of that.
Oh, that's
swag
right. Yeah. She's a good brawler, submission wrestler. Io flying around the ring was pretty sweet, and Bianca is actually showing a lot of strength in this match. The winner, Candice LeRae, as she's celebrating, she heads up to the ramp and gets confronted by 3 of the 4 MMA horsewomen.
Yeah, that was a nice touch with Shayna Baszler coming out. I mean, her song, anytime I hear her song, it gets me pumped. And she has like one of the best NXT songs. She actually is one of the best WWE songs right now out of a lot of people. She's like at least in the top 10. Yeah. So hearing that is really, it could really put the cherry on the top of a good match.
And she's so confident. She walks out there with confidence, and she knows she's a badass. She's got her henchmen by her side, and that music, yeah, really, when you hear that music, it's like, oh shit, something's going down. Just like when you hear Brock's music, it's like, what do they call it? A Pavlovian response or something. Like you hear that music, and it's like, oh, she's gonna break someone's arm.
It like whenever Brock's music came up, and Taz would say, "Here comes the pain."
I love that.
That's like the same thing when I hear her music. I don't know if there's anything that goes with it, but when I hear her music, I know someone's about to tap out.
You could be like, well, here comes the spade.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Then it follows up with a mini Adam Cole video package, and then it smash cuts to Roddy Strong backstage getting ready, and then it shows Velveteen Dream staring in the mirror for a very long time. And then we come back with another video package, a preview package for next week's NXT show on USA. Dominic Djokovic versus Keith Lee. Do you know much about either of these guys?
Oh yeah, I've been paying attention to their they had like 2 or 3 different matches on NXT TV, and I'm pretty sure they go back to the Evolve days. I'm probably wrong with that, but I know they put on like crazy ass matches where they're doing like the off the top rope Spanish fly, moonsaults onto the floor and everything like that. These guys are really, it's like agile big man having hard hitting matches, and they didn't disappoint in their last match when Dominic went over, but this next one is not going to disappoint. It's almost like on the same level as watching Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go at it.
You know, I'm not quite familiar with Dominic. I know he looks like a powerhouse and he looks like a good wrestler, but Keith Lee, I've seen a few of his matches, the most memorable being when he fought Lars. Did you see that match?
Oh,
Keith
yeah.
Lee versus Lars?
That was a really good match, and then I definitely thought that would have been a good way to send Lars off to the main roster with a loss, and they totally deflated Keith Lee's.
Yeah, they derailed his momentum big time. But that big man, when he does that barrel roll off he jumps over the top rope onto Lars while spinning. That's fucking impressive for a dude who looks jacked as jacked as Lars, like a big man flying around like that. We don't see that often.
To where it looks good. I mean, people try to do it, and it doesn't look as good as when he does it. Because a lot of people mess up the Spanish fly when they're just like a small guy. But when he did it like 2 or 3 weeks ago on Dominic, that like everything he does as a big man is good.
He nailed it, yeah. And after that, we got Killian Dane versus Matt Riddle preview package. Killian Dane has really come into his own. He's kind of looking like a disciple of Apocalypse now, the way he's dressing, and taking on Matt Riddle, who's pretty much getting himself in a lot of heat lately. But have you seen their previous matches?
I saw their brawl at TakeOver, and I saw the initial attack that Killian did on him, and I can't remember if there's anything in between the brawl at TakeOver and this street fight, so I might be missing one. But
I'm missing one too. I saw that brawl, and it looks like, I mean, Killian Dane's a big boy, and he can take whatever Matt Riddle throws at him, because Matt Riddle with his MMA stuff, he probably doesn't really pull that many punches. And Killian Dane's a brick shit house covered in hair, so
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they have great chemistry together.
I'm pretty sure Dane beat Riddle with 3 Vader bombs the last time they actually met, and that was like a clean finish.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know they showed in the video package later there was a victory like that, and that was like on a normal NXT.
Up next, we had Sean Maluta, who looks like Uso Jr. versus Cameron Grimes. And I heard some rumors about this match online. I don't know if you did, because it was basically a squash match. Cameron Grimes, looking like Moxie's cousin from Borderlands, comes out there, does a double stomp on Sean's chest, and that was it. The match was over. And I read online that it was a freak accident with Sean, that he had to be rushed to the hospital or something. He got a crushed orbital socket, or I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, maybe that's why the match was so short. I'm not sure. It could be just rumors, but I'm pretty sure we'll be hearing more about that in the future. What did you think about this little squash match here?
I mean, first off, poor Sean Maluta. Ever since like the Cruiserweight Classic, he's just been there as to get people over in NXT, and poor guy.
Yeah.
But Cameron Grimes, I've been watching him since TNA. He's like the Hurricanes boy. They used to be in a stable. He was Trevor Lee back in TNA. I know he's X Division champ one time, and he just kind of looked like he kind of like Captain Caveman. I don't know if you remember that from.
Yeah. I remember. Move on to the Christmas movies. They were talking about Die Hard and Finding Nemo. I think my favorite, it's the worst movie of all time, but Jingle All the Way.
Oh yeah, Jingle All the Way is one of my favorites.
I mean, it has Big Show in it. Come on.
You're breaking up again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, Jingle All the Way is my favorite.
Big Show being in it, throwing around midgets, so it's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, and the cookies. Put the cookies down. That's like the best scene ever.
Poor Phil Hartman. He was such a great actor.
I know, wives, you can't trust them. They'll shoot you.
Exactly. Do you remember that pay-per-view a couple years ago called Beast in the East?
Oh, when Kofi got squashed.
It was Brock Lesnar versus Kofi, and all of the New Day went in there, and they attacked Brock, and Brock destroyed all 3 of them. Ever since then, I lost faith in the New Day as serious singles competitors. Only recently, when Kofi had his build to WrestleMania, did I start getting my faith back in them. But there is no fucking way Kofi's beating Brock.
No, I don't think it's believable. Especially with that weird chest that he's got.
His sunken ass chest with his weird titties.
Yeah.
It should be a good match, but I think Brock's gonna fucking destroy him.
I kind of hope so too, because I just don't see it.
And Zanka is trying his best now to get Rowan over, as he did with Lars. Do you think he'll be successful?
Oh, he probably will. I mean, he'll have a way to spin it. He's got his way with words to spin it, where everyone's gonna just get on the train. I
think, I'll try to come up with some kind of creative question to make him explore the Rowan voice more. And I got to give a shout out to Styx Adams' question. There's a tie for the Laugh Out Loud line of the week, and Jake actually tied with Zanka, believe it or not. The Styx Adam ADD porn question. When Zanka laid out this whole scenario, and when he said that Kayla on Lars banging Linda's bush, and Linda's bush went, that, my God, I laughed so fucking hard at that, dude. That was so funny. And then when they found out that Mr. Tryon was black, and Jake goes, oh my God, we have one. That was so fucking funny. What'd you think of that stuff?
That was this is some great stuff. I honestly think that Def Bob Lars is a character that they made, maybe Jake specifically, so he can say those type of things.
Yeah. It's fucking hilarious, man. Speaking of NXT, I should have said this earlier, but Adam Cole had an interview recently, and he says 100% a lot, just like Baron Corbin, just like Jake, just like Zanka. Is this just a normal thing? Are we the weird ones for pointing it out, or is this just like what do you think?
100%.
Do you say 100%?
100%. I've never even noticed it. So even when Jake and Zenka say 100%, I don't even notice it.
I always notice it ever since Zenka pointed it out. Now I'm like, oh, they both say it all the time now.
Oh man, like,
and Adam,
maybe it's just like the Nimkin poop in me, and I just don't hear that 100% of 100% of the time.
And Adam Cole plays Borderlands 3.
Oh yes, he does.
Said that he reserved it and he loves it. I had no idea. That's pretty cool. Now I'm a bigger Adam Cole fan.
Oh yeah, I know him, and I know dang it, what else does he like to play? Damn it, I can't remember.
Does he play Gears?
Yeah, I think he did post something for Gears for when that came out. I know AJ Styles plays Gears.
Also, a little more NXT news. Velveteen Dream was injured after that match with Roddy Strong. I guess his lumbar pain, his back pain. He's been walking around weird. They said
he always walks around weird. Like,
that's just his character, him walking all ladylike or whatever.
Even when he was on Tough Enough, like the way his back arches all the time, his butt sticks out.
He's got that deep arch.
Yeah, he does. I'm not surprised. But that's good though that he's injured and he doesn't get a rematch, because when he comes back, it's gonna mean so much more. Like everyone, he might get one of those Triple H pops,
and he possibly might be drafted. We never know.
Oh, that would be terrible.
Oh yeah, Vince will destroy him.
Jake would probably jump off a building.
Another, last point I want to make about the Steel Rail After Party is forever from now on, I'm never going to hear opportunity. And in my head, going to hear opportunity. Also, what they were making fun of on the podcast was Kayla. Every time I see Kayla on TV doing an interview, or anytime it's said on the podcast or any other podcast I listen to, it always echoes Kayla.
It's just,
what about you?
It's just like when you hear "Here Comes the Pain" with Taz.
Yep,
it's the same thing, no matter what.
That's true. And then we have, I know he's not your favorite person in the world, but the new one catching fire is Indicator.
Oh God. I'm
never going to hear that normal again.
It's so funny. I don't even notice these things. And when you guys point them out, it's so funny that I still don't notice them when I watch the videos and stuff like that.
I listen to the podcast multiple times so I can pick up on things, and I write them down so I'll have stuff to talk about. But yeah, it's funny, the little tiny things that are repeated every week.
Yeah. And despite what everyone thinks, I don't dislike that wrestling guy, okay? Everything is hunky dory. He's just a shitty person when it comes to follow through on bets. And he deserves all of this Baron Corbin shit because he didn't follow through on his bet. So,
well, who was happier? You, Zanka, or Jake when Corbin won the King of the Ring? Who was the happiest?
I'd have to make an argument that I was one of the freaking happiest, because my neighborhood kids always think I'm yelling at my son when I'm really yelling at the TV because something awesome like that's happened.
Did you pop loud? Did you jump up and down and be like, yeah?
Oh yes, and I watched it over and over and over again because
you put it on the loop.
The transition into that End of Days was
fucking badass.
Was simply amazing. That move, End of Days, is so fucking good. It's very original, and it flows, and you can pull it. It's more of a RKO out of nowhere type of move.
Wow, this is actually a really good transition because I have the final question to ask you. The finishing move crumb offs have started, and I'm tacking on the first part is I interviewed my wife, and me and her broke it down like really nerdy like we had a point system and everything. It's probably going to be confusing when people listen to it, but basically if a finishing move reached 30 points, that's a perfect score because we each graded it on like a 15-point scale. But I won't say what has made it and what hasn't because I want you to go back and listen to it, but I am giving you the power now, my friend. We have moved on to round 2, and you get to pick what moves on between Christian's Kill Switch versus the New Day's Midnight Hour.
Oh man.
Now, Christian's Kill Switch, I believe, is very underrated because this dude puts your head behind his back and just drops your ass on the ground. I mean, it hurts the guy who's doing it too. It hurts his back, but I mean that move, it's fucking devastating, especially when he did it on the outside of the ring.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. That's the recipe for CTE because
Exactly.
Midnight Hour, it's just more of a like the arm is going over your head, driving you into the floor, and at least you have some cushion on your belly with Big E.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the kill switch is like all of my heavy ass torso, like the back, like good solid like 85 pounds of me with force, because when he jumps pretty high too, and that drives your
Could
head
you
into the
imagine
ground.
if Otis? Could you imagine if Otis did the kill switch?
That would be like,
He'd be charged for murder.
yeah, he would kill people. And definitely
Mid-
kill switch. I agree. Kill switch, go past it. Even though it's a one-person move, it has more of an effect than the Midnight Hour because you can get it wrong with this the synchronicity.
well, the argument I made for the Midnight Hour is it might not be as famous or recognizable as the 3D was, but it helped the New Day secure the record for the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions. I mean, they didn't win every match with it, but it helped them achieve that record. That was my argument for it. It's a Big E, big ending with Kofi or Xavier jumping and almost like a DDT in midair combination. But I agree, the kill switch being a single move finisher does look way more devastating. Is that your pick?
Yes, because it's secured Christian one more match, plenty of times.
Nice, dude. That all right. That your decision is final. You have secured Kill Switch's victory over the Midnight Hour.
That's a spoonful of truth right there.
Oh, there you go. Nailed it. Well, thank you for your time, Andy. And hopefully, if the guys like this, maybe I can make it a regular thing reviewing NXT. And I hope you have a great weekend. And as always, all hail Linda's Bush.